Yes, yes. Welcome. Welcome again to another stream podcast from Chaos Rain. I am Chaos Rain here, as y'all know. Welcome again to another show or podcast, like to call it. But for those that are listening or be watching for the very first time, welcome. And for those who are not familiar, you can always know as you come to my channel, always give a nice subscribe. 3 notification bells, depend what you select, will know vary how often I go live or I post an upload. But nonetheless, the choice is yours. Also, for every stream, I would like if you would leave a comment, if you so kindly do, for your thoughts, opinions, feelings. And as you come through the stream, please give a like, as you come in. And that's pretty much it. Let me get my little notepad that I was going to probably see if I could address a few things. And as I see here, I'm trying to see if I can address a few things here today. And as you know, this is the open mic edition. This is what I like to call Into the Spring 2020. As you know, we are now into the spring equinox, which started over the weekend, roughly 21st. Some will say the 20th, but usually 21st usually is when the new equinox on the average starts. And as you know, we are going through some interesting times. Yeah, I know what's going out there throughout the world, throughout your countries you're located. I have to really go into any detail on that. Just you have to always stay positive, stay active, and protect yourself all times. So let me send one more thing out here for those that will come in. Hold on a second, people. Okay. I left out some information for those to look for it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChaosRain7. And like always, I'm just going to go through a few, I guess you could say, notes or pointers that I should try to look to address personally. Just to knock this out the way. Let me look. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. The two notes I will be addressing in regards to the situation with this, man-made virus. In regards to the situation with the community, specifically the Afrocentric or Black community, what I've noticed is that a lot of mothers, and don't take this personally, I never really look into this too much, but I'm starting to notice through social media and a few friends that they find it very much a problematic when a lot of mothers were complaining about what their children was going to eat and how they're going to get by these couple of weeks now that they have spent time with their own babies. And to how I view it and think about it critically is that why are you even having your children or having these babies and you're not making a conscious effort to feed them? Besides, make sure that they're doing good in school, all this other stuff. But just to feed them alone, I find it very much problematic. And it makes me wonder, really truly, from the issues with a lot of men, when they talk about the mothers of this community, is how well prepared are you with your own children? I mean, that's the question that every woman should ask themselves. How well you prepare yourself for any serious crisis, pandemic that you could possibly face. And I never gotten a clear answer for that. I could be wrong, but this is how I see it. And I feel bad for the youth today to what they're facing and what they will probably will go through. Not only what has happened to us now, this will pass. What we're facing right now will come to pass. But I'm thinking long term in the future wise, what's going to happen? I'm very concerned about the future of, these young boys and girls. To find that a lot of mothers, either they had to raise them by themselves or whatever the circumstance, how they gonna really make sure that their children are gonna be all right? That's my concern. Move forward in the 21st century. Um, Besides everything else, I don't really worry about, but this alone is kind of concerning. And the reason why I say that because if you're dependent on the American school system to feed your babies on a daily basis, and you as a woman not putting the necessary time to make sure your children get the proper nutrition to any state you live in, that's a red flag. And me as a man, just by hearing that alone, it makes me have my eyebrows raised at a good number of our women in this community. Um, Normally, I would say I have an answer and probably give maybe certain answers to some of these ladies, but just to find that alone, and anything can happen on a given notice. Your house could burn down. You potentially might lose your job, or hell, we might have a certain economic issue where people might be out unemployed for more than a month. What are you going to do as a lady, as a woman in America? That's my biggest question I always ask. What are you going to do? if these situations can happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but can happen. Are you really prepared as a woman? Do you have things stocked up enough that will secure you for at least an average of 90 days? Do you have what we call tools, weapons to protect yourself from other predators, not just animals, but actual physical human beings that might come in and take your stuff? Are you really prepared for any situation? These are questions you should be asking yourself. I can't answer it because, you have to answer it for yourself. Because I would say if there is a greater than more than half of, let's say, the sisters, the black women, are single and have children, who can you really depend and fall back on? That should be a question you should ask yourself, ladies. You're not Superwoman. Let's get this straight right now. You're not Superwoman. And I don't expect man. You shouldn't think that you're Superwoman. You should expect that anything can happen to you and your loved ones on a given notice. And the preparation alone, if you're not prepared, you could get caught up and it could be devastating for not only yourself, but for your children. If you have to do it all by yourself, mind you. And I don't see and you don't really see the importance of the times we're in now. I mean, at the end of the day, some of the men that surround your community could give assistance, but you as a lady, as a woman, depending what age you are, if you're over the age of 20 or even over 35, and the climate we're in and the mentality of enough people, especially the men of our community, can you really trust your safety to a lot of these men today? With certain mindset they are explaining or they're showing today, if there's a crisis that they're going to step into your defense. Good evening. That's my question I had to ask every lady today. And I don't see a lot of our people, because we've gone through worse, that's really prepared for these problems we face and what we possibly will face down the line and what is to come or in the future. And like any meal, it's always concerning. And I'm saying this and speaking in the care of my heart to the greater concern, to let you know the importance of a lot of things. And there's certain things with what we face right now, it's not to play with. And I know most women are not playing with this, but let's say for the sake of conversation, a lot of y'all women don't take this seriously. Okay, that's your right. But at the end of the day, you have children to mind and feed, you know. And at the end of the day, these babies do need food, clothing, and a sense of shelter. Are you really prepared to make sure you have these on deck and have it on lockdown when certain devastations happen around your environment, the environment that you nest in as a woman? That's my biggest concern. out of everything else. And I feel how we're as a collective, as a nation, as a people, race of people, we're gonna be very much tested. Out of everything else, if we've never been tested before, this will really show where we really stand as a collective, as people. I don't know what any other way to say it. Um, I wish I could tell you and say in a way where it's comforting to your ears, but I can't as a man. I had to tell you what how it is. I had to keep it what we call 100. If you like to hear it, if you don't like what that word is, 100. um, but at the end of the day, in all fairness, that a lot of y'all ladies, you gotta be prepared for something. And to find that you're complaining just having your children around you in regards to this lockdown, and you're concerned what you're gonna put in their bellies, it's a concern for any adult. And as a man, I don't want to even hear about that or get wind or find you posting that about your concerns about how your children are going to eat. That should be the only thing I would say this. The number one priority as a mother, you gotta make sure your children got food, clothing, shelter. Period. And if you can't secure the food aspect, make sure your children got at least breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner, which I'm hoping that these babies are eating dinner nowadays, because I know some women nowadays can't cook. It's a concern. And if you can't cook, I can see why most of our children today are so obese. Obese. 'Cause a lot of mothers, regardless of the situation, we have to do it all, work, clean, all that stuff. Then obviously it shows your limit as a woman. And that talking about you're strong, independent, and super, you need to relinquish that thought parent, that notion of the thought pattern, really. And I know most women feel they're not strong and independent. I see that, but like I said, certain things you got to get out of certain thinking in regards to certain situations that affects you and your babies the most. And the reason why I'm saying this because like I said, I've seen people's remarks and posts about having their babies with them for a lengthy stretch of time. Hell, I heard some sisters were cool to have their children with their grandparents. Um, Maybe some friends to watch their sons and daughters, especially the sons are almost teenagers, that let them stay with them and so stay in your comfort, your own home. It's questionable. It lets me know that a lot of mothers today, they don't want to act and conduct in their motherly duties in raising their children. So when I find that when a lot of children, especially the boys, and eventually the girls gonna be next and not doing things of level, it makes me want to say how much time you put in and make sure the children not only if they go to school but they come home and get an extra learning and care in their education to get just the basics down pat, reading, writing, arithmetic. How much you're how much patience as you as a mother to put in the time edge to do the work? It's always been his question. That's the answer I'm looking for. Thank you, Larry Jackson. Hold on a second, people. All right, Mac. So that's my biggest question I always ask most women today with children. What are you prepared to do? What steps are you taking right now? What steps are you taking now, as I say, in regards to prepare yourself and your children for any serious disaster that awaits you? You know, um, and if I let's say if I read some of the few comments now on this, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it, but let's see. Um, hold on. Let me find some of the quotes and comments on this. All right, I think one of them. Hold on. If I can remember closely, let me see if the comment's still there. And it's funny thing with all this, I see people making joke of this situation, which I find very sad. Okay. Oh wow. Let me go up. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Hmm. For some reason, I cannot find that post now. All right. All right, this one I'm gonna do because it looked like the post one of my friends had. I guess she removed it, and I'm not surprised why she removed it because a lot of women did not like what she posted because it sets a deeper picture of the responsibility of a lot of women when it regards to raising and taking care of their own babies. So I get it. I'm not gonna waste more time on this. Probably moving on. But like I said, yeah, man, I've noticed it now for the past week and a half, and it bothered me. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, all I could tell most mothers or future mothers that after this has passed, it lets you sit back and really reflect even the necessities if you're gonna have these children or bring these children into this world. You gotta at least have some things down pat, at least, what you're gonna do. In regards to the mate you pick, that's optional. I know most women nowadays they operate more because women are able to make money in this country now that they'll have more of a free range to operate and deal and procreate with a man that makes their, I guess, juices wet, their yoni wet. So they're gonna probably much go more and procreate with them type of males. I ain't knocking it, it's part of the game. It is what it is, but notice that but make sure that the dude that you let them hopping all in your womb is gonna be around for the long run. If not, most likely you're gonna have to deal with the baby by yourselves because I've noticed a lot of males today, brothers, are becoming very much derelict in their responsibilities as men raising these children. And because of this, a lot of women are really in a position where they have to fend for themselves. I always hear thoughts about some dude said this dude's a bad man, get a good man. Women don't operate by what's good and bad. They only operate what makes them feel good. If the man looks appealing, sexy looking, and all the other things, they go by that on the average. They're just as objective as men, you know. So I can't really point more pressure on her than what's already been going around in these communities for decades. All I could tell them said that you're gonna, as any woman, whatever age you are, you're going to have to choose very wisely, especially in regards to having children. If you're not gonna necessarily do your motherly duties or be that sacrifice so your children have some future, then obviously what happens, you actually deserve it. And this is a man telling y'all personally. So that's far as I'm gonna say in regards to the mothers not feeding their children peace. Now to the men. And I know a lot of men not gonna like this portion of this podcast and stream, but I don't care at this point. I'm gonna say it as is. Your dick does not equal power nor erases racism or a form of competing with other men. Now, this is for the brothers here, the black men here. Why do I say this? Because I've noticed a behavior lately, and I've been expressing this on many streams, a lot of streams. I've noticed there is a constant rise of no accountability. I do it as I want. Do not police my penis. All these things. And at the back end, I hear a lot of complaints and moaning and bitching about the consequence they do or they suffer after, going around injecting their essence to every woman that comes around. And then make streams and panels and podcasts about it and complain about the little power they actually have. To my answer to you, you weak males, get over it. Why, Cass? Why you tell me I must get over it? I tell you what, because if you're not ready to be the boss and control narrative of your reality and hold yourself in more responsibility to every action you take, as man, I will look at you funny because complaining and moaning and bitch about what the women won't let you do or what they have done to you will not fix their problems as a man. It won't fix it in the 20th century, and it's not going to fix it now going forward in the 21st century. And I'm sad to tell you, the reason why I'm telling you this is because I've entertained these conversations with enough other men older than me, and some, hell, even probably a little younger than me. And I've come to the point as any other man. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. I'm not gonna entertain it more. As a man. I have somebody down in the panel. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that, people. I had to handle something. It was but like I was saying, your dick will not equal power or limit racism. I have somebody up here, so let me open up. Okay, who's this that's up on my panel?
It's Mela.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. So good Sunday to you and your audience.
Hello, my love.
Huh?
I'm
Hello?
good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Exactly your topic of today. Um, what would it be? What's the underlining current of
well.
your topic?
Today, because I let you up is this is dealing into 2020. This is open mic. I'm going through certain quotes and notes I've taken down to discuss for the stream. Um, as you know, right now I'm dealing with the dick part and this power. And me saying into this part is I've policing of their dicks and they could do as they please. And the lack of power they have because they said women have power here, especially the sisters have more power than them in this region we call American region. And I'm right now discussing that from my perspective as a man. The complaints, too many complaints on the average. And I always tell from my perspective that, your dick now in the 21st century will not equal how much will get you out of the racism or get you out anything. So saying to myself personally to tell most black men that, to stop it. It will not fix anything. It will not save you. And it will not get you out of your situation at all. And I will say this person to most ladies down here, and I see Tony on the bottom too, that when I talk about the actual power that men, if they're really serious about power, then there's certain things as men we have to do differently. And to sit here and hope to tell our sisters to relinquish some power so they can get some power, it's a weakness to me. But anyway, hello, Tony.
Hey, hey. Can you hear me?
Hey. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. The lady dropped off. That's fine. Let me go back to my. I see. But let me say this on my part, and then you could part respond, Tony. And also, as y'all know, if most black men are not aware of this, yeah, you can go to any other community outside of America or in this country, and maybe inject yourself and your essence and hope to create something other than you to make it seem like you're doing something. But I'm telling you right now, it does not do crap shit. It's not affecting the status quo or relinquishing any power from competing groups of men, from my perspective, from what I'm seeing. And it should never will. And the reason why I'm telling most men this from my side now is because one, you're not replicating yourself. Two, you're not putting yourself in any position of actual power to sit there, change and reverse any laws or things put upon you, not only on you but also to women because we're together. One, we're not separated. To really change the damage and harm that was inflicted us for centuries here in the West we call America. And the only reason why I'm speaking of America because we here, so we only could talk about where we at right now. Outside here, that's another story. So if you think you're going to do that as a man, no, it's not good. Be effective, it ain't gonna work. Also, another thing, I said the race equal. This thing about women, especially us, has got a whole bunch more power than us. I cannot necessarily agree by that because at the end of the day, as a man, I had to control and take control what is mine, what is around me, and my destiny to I allow in my circle, at least. And that's just a small portion of the power I control right now. Outside the bigger power, and most women must understand, that's going to take a collective group, organized group of men. So, in regards to most dudes complain about, women are going to take you for everything you have. And let me bring back Miss Miller back. Take you for everything you have, from your little money you make a week time if you have a child by her, is the least of your concern. Or even go as far as you go get married and then she decided to divorce you, and then they say you're going to take more money. it makes me want to say the biggest issue with a lot of you dudes is you're really broke and you don't want to admit it because other competing group of men, they don't have this issue with money with women. Last my check, I could be wrong. But when it comes to us as men, and I think this is the programming and what we've gone through, maybe this is the reason why they think like this, that we're actually broke as men. And a lot of men don't want to hear this, but when we talk about actual money we have, that's only one part of research because real research is what you tangibly have in control. Do you have enough land? Do you have actual business that's in the so-called SP 500 or something that employs other people, including yourself? These are slow but growing portions of power, solely as a collective. And I think we as men, these are the conversations we don't have enough as men. And we neglect and refuse to have these conversations. It's always go back to say, we get these women check, everything is good. Well, I'm thinking, say, if you are trying to check the ones that's not pushing for your own demise, you're wasting your time. As you know, the numbers started dropping now because most men that see watch, they don't want to hear this, you know. But I gotta keep it real as a man, 100 y'all, you know. And I'm not saying this for favors for both the men and women. We gotta look at ourselves as a collective, as a people, you know. The problems not gonna be addressed overnight. And this also goes for not only the regular Batmans, but the ones that follows these so-called religions. If you're Israelite, you're a Muslim, or a Christian, this also applies to you. You know what power is. You have an understanding, hopefully, and you go around it as us as a group of men. And I'm telling you right now that that's not gonna fly moving forward in the 21st century. You know, yes, man, I don't sit here and go and sit there, depend and forsake the collective of this community by just our women alone and figure we want to make it. No, that's not gonna work. You know, the men that sit there put the policies in place, they don't sit there wait, say, okay, I want my women to get in line for it. No, they just do it because they're already in a power position because they run everything and control the environment that we endure and comfort in this little nesting environment. So for most of these dudes that feel, you know, you go outside this little environment or this nest and thinks that I'll go somewhere else and nest somewhere else just to avoid dealing with this beast or this competing group of men, you are sadly mistaken. Matter of fact, I ladies will know personally, you could smell a coward when you see him. He reeks of defeativism. He will not overcome the problems that really face. It's like the book itself that I just got titled Self-Hatred and Self-Defeating, towards a reclamation of the African mind. And there's a psychological piece written and done by many lectures by Amos Wilson. And even the part where it says self-hate and self-defeat, because with hatred breeds defeat. So,
may I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you bring that book before your brethren, what are their responses?
What came out? I'm ready yet. I just got this because I've gone through the lectures part and now it's put into actual physical paper back now.
All right. But you've had that conversation with your brethren?
The men I have around, they already know what they're doing. Not to every brother, but the ones that I'm around with, I deal with.
All right. Yeah,
just like y'all sisters, let's say y'all on a direction path. You're not gonna have this conversation for let's say if women are gonna entertain checking other women, you're not gonna entertain check every woman because just by the conversation with the women that's in your circle outside, you could tell where they're at and you decide as a woman if you want to proceed or not. You wouldn't waste time because you have other things to do, and to sit there to have long drawn arguments with other sisters and that they're not going to refuse to get it, you're not going to waste time. You just say, okay, fuck it, moving on. You know, if you're a woman that's already doing it or not doing it, you know, just for sake of conversation. So I'm missing Miller. What else?
It's not my objective to be an opportunistic individual, meaning that in the event there is a woman that displays herself in a fashion that I would judge unsuitable, who am I to counsel her? You see what I'm saying? Because what we Black women have yet to do on these panels is actually collaborate in a unified fashion. If, God willing, we were to unify in a collective fashion where we have established a meeting place on a platform that we consistently show up for, and we discuss our concerns and our aspirations and endeavors, and like just that one channel would once a week every Black woman on YouTube just joins together and not necessarily have a battle, a Sunday battle like some of you brothers do, but just a meetup, just a meetup, health check, whatever is on individual's mind. It can even be it can be orchestrated to be in an organized fashion, because women know instinctively how to do, well, hopefully they know how to run a household, and they know how to multitask and do things where it is being placed in order. So I think any event that were to occur, it would be a successful endeavor that leads to women actually guiding one another. I find, since I've been on YouTube, the brothers have had this opportunity. They've gathered together in masses on a handful of channels, if not fewer, and have yet to actually conduct themselves saying anything productive other than and when I say productive, I'm talking sky level, not eye level. Okay, I'm talking about what are we going to do to buy a lobbyist for our interests? Because if you're going to complain about child support on a regular basis, what are you doing to buy a lobbyist so that your interests are presented before the government for the law to see things in your favor? All I hear is complaining, and I don't like to say that because it sets you up for criticisms. But the fact of the matter is, the law matters. Why do you think people are staying inside or not showing? Why do you think people in 3 major states across America not dare go outside? Because of laws, right? So laws are important, and to change, or rather influence legislation, you need lobbyists, and lobbyists cost money. And if you're that big and bad, buy a lobbyist. If all these brothers, pocketbook is talking as much as they want to talk, where's your lobbyist? So you can change all this stuff you're complaining about. And that's the hard card. That's the hard card I pull. Women, for whatever reason, are being chastised that legislation would be quote unquote in our favor. There were women that got together and bought lobbyists to make that happen. So, we invite men to go ahead and show their turn in power. And not just, about being brutally verbally ferocious toward us. That doesn't produce being, when a woman appears on the panel, when a woman has some type of critique, to chastise her on site is not changing legislation. So what is it that you're trying to do? Are you just trying to be YouTube famous for your big ass mouth, or are you trying to change legislation? And that's I'm not trying to be funny. I know it sounds like I'm being a little too, but see, when you conduct a conversation in that straightforward manner, you're accused as being as lacking femininity, when in fact it's a very practical conclusion. It's a very practical conclusion.
Let's keep 100. These dudes, when they talk about femininity, they're not really serious about femininity. It's bullshit.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
You gotta understand, ladies. I'm keeping 100. When these dudes talk about they look feminine, if they're not getting from a sister, they go and let's say they go date out and go find other women, and once they mess with these other women, they kind of double down. Whatever situation they are, as hard with the sisters, they go be very, very soft, like a kitten with other race women, and they inflicting the same problems on the average, like what y'all would do with the brothers. And let's say if another race woman, let's say, dates and procreates with the brothers, right? And then decides to don't want nothing to do with him and then puts him on child support, you don't hear the same issue. But was one of the sisters, it's like a betrayal. I say, how dare you put me on child support? All it was like a pump and dump. Can I just go around and just screw another woman in peace without dealing with you? You know what I'm saying? Just leave me alone. Don't ask for no money. Just leave me alone. It was not something serious. So we had a good time. I bounced around your womb. Hell, a baby came in. It not my problem. Just let me go and be a bed bug in peace. Let me be that bug in peace with the next woman. And I'm saying, listen, you can do that. It's all in your right, because America, you are entitled to certain freedoms at the end of the day. But I'm saying, this competing group, man, puts these laws in place to check other men's behavior.
In the interest of being optimistic, I would like to believe that the vast majority of brothers who are complaining are practicing for the upcoming endeavor of legislation change. That's what I choose to believe. Because this jaw, I'm serious. It's like all this jaw jacking got to be leading somewhere, other than this jaw jacking and threatening and do you ain't nothing without me? All this talk. It's like, come on now, bro. You got to be practicing. For your debates, you have to be practicing. To strengthen your stance in Congress or something, because do you realize how futile it is to argue with those who you consider opponents, as opposed to exercising what it takes to enact legislation? There's a difference between chasing somebody to enact an argument on YouTube channels versus enacting legislation. That's when you are to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, I got the great liberator here. So we have 2 males, 2 females. We balance out. That's how I like it. What's up, Mary?
What's up? How y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You sound clear, man. Look like you in the comfort spot here in the stream. You know what I'm saying?
Good Sunday.
Yeah, I'm on my way to work.
Okay. All right, good. Good. So, Mary, I'm not sure what take you want to give into the discussion, because I'm not sure if you listened to the stream earlier. I listened
to some of it, and then I had to get ready to go to work, so I didn't get.
All right, we'll give you a take to what is discussed so far.
So what exactly what are we talking about here? We're talking about.
The second part I'm talking about is in regards to the male's phallus and how it's not going to equate power or eliminate racism, and I explain my reasons why. Because they feel said because I have access to other women, now is a sense of power, like I'm inflicting some power. Procreating with
Right. Well, you know, the
Yeah.
phallus is the phallus is probably the greatest symbol of power
Mhm.
that we know of. Like, this is where the obelisk comes from. You know what I'm saying? With how the whole, you know, the whole psychology of a male getting an erection. And I think I was explaining this to somebody a couple of weeks ago, how that uh, an erection is not only sexual in its connotation. It's not supposed to be. Like a vying for power should give a man an erection. You know, defeating your enemy or your opponent should give you an erection. You know what I mean? Because these are
I agree.
power relationship dynamics. You know what I mean? But I think what you have in today's time is you have many men who are psychologically demand. And this is why I've made the observation between masculinity and manhood, and the difference between the two. How masculinity in and of itself is merely a strength dynamic, and manhood is a power dynamic. You see what I mean? And so there's a basic template to male behavioral psychology, and this is why I took some level of exception with Angel Ramirez's dissertation on black men want to be like white men, because the fact of the matter is that what we see white men doing isn't unique. We only use that as a shaming tactic, in essence, to get black men to prostrate themselves before the women of their group, right or wrong, good or bad or whatever. I think that's what it is. There's going to be a very simple template of how men behave, and the greatest qualifier of manhood is the protection of women and children. You see what I mean? I've even seen this examined on Facebook through memes, right? And it'll be, well, through some memes, and I've seen some people make posts about that. Why does a man will like another woman in something, but don't want his woman to wear something? You see what I mean? And the reason why, and they're as if they're exposing some type of hypocrisy, but that's just it's the protective instinct, the territorial nature. It's like football. You see what I mean? What you're trying to do is demonize this man for wanting to protect his territory. You see what I'm saying? While having access to his opponent's territory. All of these things that we engage in the society. Hold on, y'all. I'm getting a call. I got to call my brother back. But all of these things that take place in the society, these are all mating dynamics. It's all about mating. The fundamental interaction between humans is about mating, man. That's why I've explained, and I believe quite effectively, if people have ears to hear, that patriarchy fundamentally is a mating strategy, because it's about males expressing their dominance over other males and ingratiating the women to themselves. You see what I mean? These are power relationship dynamics. And so if, as a male or a male group, other males have access to your women that you don't have to their women, then you are failing as a man in terms of the power relationship dynamics and the vying for power. But I think what we can't do is demonize men and manhood, and this is something that is prevalent in today's society. With terms like toxic masculinity. You see what I mean? But you would expect the same man to, if he saw you being accosted, didn't know you from a can of paint, you would expect his masculine instinct to kick in and help you, or to protect you, or to come to your aid. But all of these things exist within the sphere and the realm of behavioral male psychology, whether we're talking about being territorial, having certain levels of possessiveness, and these different things. And that's why I even was telling Marielle a couple of weeks ago on Tony's show, how that when you talk about that being an alpha male, number one, it's pseudo, because it's not really real, because we don't get to act in those ways. We have laws, we have a society.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two, even if we were to take that at face value, then the white male or the white man is in the alpha male position, because he is the dominant male group in American society. You see what I'm saying? So I think fundamentally and ultimately, that's what it's about. But the phallus is probably the greatest symbol of power that we know of. And in fact, in terms of male physiology and anatomy, the penis is the first part of a male's anatomy that reaches adult size, before his brain, before his feet, before his hands. You know, this is why it's asinine when women make comparisons between a man, the size of a man's hand, and the size of a man's feet, in terms of the size of his penis, because the penis reaches adult size before any other part of the male's anatomy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is true. This is true. I agree with that.
I'll be back, y'all. I gotta make a phone call.
All right, do your thing. So Tony, and what you heard, what is your take? I know you've been quiet. Tony. Damn, she went. Anyway, as she gets the mic ready. Yeah, that's well explained.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Hello? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, my mic was muted. I kind of like every time Amiri speaks, I swear to you, I be wanting to like jump in like word and then give my piece on what he's saying, but then he'll go on to something else and it'll be like irrelevant. So there was like so much that he said that I was like, yes. But I didn't say hi to the sister on the panel. I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
That's Mela.
Hi,
Mela.
I'm
Hi.
Mela. What's your name?
I'm Tony. Nice to meet you.
Tony is one of my favorite names for a woman because it reminds me of Tony Braxton. Is it spelled the same?
Yes, Toni.
That's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
I like you already. Peace.
Thank you. Oh, so I was listening to you and it was funny because I wanted to say, I feel in so many ways like brothers won't, well, not brothers, but some men will not take the necessary steps to change the legislation, like you were saying, because it's easier to make an enemy out of the Black woman or the single moms that they complain about that they come from. But you know, I think it's just easier to do that, and I think it's really interesting to hear some of their talking points, especially with, I don't know who mentioned it, if it was you or Mary, with the pump and dump, I guess, philosophy. I don't know what to really call it, but it's just really, I have never heard this from anywhere other than YouTube, other than social media.
You hear
it's
from
just like
a group of men, mind you, because we really analyze.
What's that?
We hear this from a certain group of men. If we really type up and really listen to other creators or any other podcasts from other groups of men, competing groups of men, you don't really hear them expressing or advocating or promoting a pump and dump lifestyle.
Right.
And Mila could agree with me with this one or have an understanding. Do you hear this outside of the males amongst our community, Mela?
I don't investigate it that far. I have heard a panel or two with Caucasian men who are in the manosphere. They're about saving themselves and all these acronyms that are going around. They're affiliated with that. They're just Caucasian men. And what I had observed on one panel was they were discussing aspirations. They were talking about the future. They were talking, and when I say the future, it didn't include how they were going to subjugate women. It was about how they intend to mark their legacy, and the women will come. They are confident that what lies ahead is to establish your legacy as an undeniable beacon of where you're undeniable. You know, a undeniable beacon of opportunity for women to say, that's what I want. You see what I'm saying? Because women, I dare say, we as women, we are attracted to comfort. Okay? We are attracted to comfort, like above most things. Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody. I know a lot of men, they want to sit up there and chop logs and perform prize winning boxing matches and all of that. Women, we want comfort, okay? Why take our dishwashers away, take our convenience. If man, listen, you're not going to take our conveniences away. That's what you're not going to do, because we are women, and we are designed to experience a delicate existence. Men are denim, women are silk. We are designed to experience a delicate existence. So we are going to gravitate to those which provide a comfortable existence. And in this land of capitalism, that takes money.
Mhm.
Okay? And it's as simple as that. And a lot of brothers,
They're broke.
I'm not gonna say that because I can't.
And the reason why I'm saying this because
I can't peek into anybody's bank account.
I know, hold on. Let me say this.
But I do know a scarcity mentality when it's spoken, and that's what I'm talking about. I know a scarcity mentality when it's spoken, and a scarcity mentality is focused on childhood traumas. You know, they are dressing up what it is that disappointed them in the quote unquote past, as opposed to designing their future. That's the difference.
Okay. And the reason why I say broke, and I'm not holding no bars saying that to keep it 100.
Believe it or not, you can be broke as long as you got rich friends.
Mela,
For real.
Let me speak, Mela. Relax. The reason why I say broke, because every man, you could say a lot of crap to us also, but when it deals with what's in our pocket, it's like a big blow. And this is why I agree with Cerulean, because Cerulean talked about this in his own little stream about this. And I agree with the brother, because when I see most men, everything else, they're fine with it, depending their upbringings and how they deal with certain traumas. But when you talk about the pocket, it's a serious low blow. Because obviously we do live in a capitalist world, and this is where the function here in this environment, you got to have the money, at least. I mean, some.
See, here's the thing, right? That poverty shaming crap doesn't work on a real man, because a real man, let's break it down to a fraction. You remember that song by Prince, I ain't got no money, but I'm rich in personality? Let me tell you something. Personality will connect you to wealthy associates who will embrace you because you give something to them that is priceless. And then they will therefore hook you up, and you will become as prosperous as they are, and you all are conquering the world together. That's how that works. I'm telling you, because I lived it.
Interesting. What do you say, Tony? Agree, disagree? Any rebuttal?
No lies detected. No
like
lies
I said, you gotta be good at something, man. If you don't got money,
look me over. Tell me if you like what you see. I ain't got no money, but I'm rich in personality. And that man, not Prince, but that man who self-actualizes that understanding has the confidence to infiltrate. Well, infiltrate is a negative connotation. Rather, commingle with those who are wealthy and brings value to their lives that are priceless. And therefore, because they want to keep them around, they will hook them up and make them rich just like them. I'm telling you.
Interesting. Well, I can't knock for that. Sounds good to me. Sounds true to me.
That's what that song was talking about. I'm about to go listen. Man.
No, I break down lyrics. I break it down line by line. I don't.
I mean,
the
that's
whole
fine.
Song,
That's fine.
The whole song is different.
everybody can find that song. If it's Prince song, you know, if you don't name the track, you could probably put it in the comment. We'll look it up still. Yeah. Like I said, yeah. A good portion of the brothers in this collective, even in this space that Thomas said they're this and that. That let's say they're six figures. He's saying I'm around a bunch of six figures dudes, and we can't come together and get, like I said, a lobby or something done about the little small things that bother us and affects us as men. I find that very odd. That's why when I hear these dudes talk, I say, you're not really a six-figure Negro, brother. Unfortunately, you compose like you are, but when I seriously look into it, and I know some dudes that really met these people in person per se, it's a different story. You know, they're really not talking what they really live, much as they really show that they're that. And if they were that, you know what I'm saying, then all the little problems that they complain about on a daily basis, either on the podcast or on YouTube or any of these streams, you look silly, dude. You know, and like I said, most of them that's on here, yeah, they're here to bring more pain and to make as little money as possible to
Now,
other young men and men probably in their 30s, possibly, or maybe a little
the
older.
Black manosphere has saved people's lives. There were men, young and old and in between, that were desperately confused as to why things weren't adding up in the relationships of their lives. And the manosphere gave them a sense of, dare I say, fellowship.
It's a boys' club, the Manosphere. We want to keep it 100.
Well, I can agree. Hold on. I can agree with you only because they haven't initiated legislation for some of their legislative complaints. You know, if you're going to talk barbershop talk, that's one thing. But if you're going to make legislative complaints, then, you know, where's your lobbyists? You know, what's going on? Where's the organization that you've established so that you can change the legislation that you complain about? So that's the difference between a boys' club and what men are, you know, fighting for. And I have to be careful because of my reputation. No, because of my reputation as being a ferocious defender, right? You know, there and when you look back, if anybody were to retract any conflict I've ever had with anyone, it's where somebody started with me first. I don't jump on the panel like, yeah, remember you was talking that shit. You know, I don't do that. Right? It's like where I'm on a panel and there are people that recall some of my some of the ways I may have verbally buried somebody, and they just want a shot at it, you know, and it became exhausting, right? And so I allowed myself to be criticized. That's what I've decided to do. It's like, okay, I'm going to sit up, even though I'm a self-actualized woman, I'm going to allow people to tell me what they think I am. And I have found that people have been gentle and kind enough to ask me, what feminine traits do I have? What mistakes do I regret? And, you know, they're actually asking me questions as to my behavior, you know, on these panels or in life. And that's very considerate. So I do take the consideration seriously. And I guard my words carefully, not to condemn anyone, male or female. I take that very seriously because it wasn't my intention to do anything other than be friendly. And it turned, by the nature of what others' intentions are, it turned into something totally off the wall. And because I had already experienced those types of environments in my young adulthood, I knew how to get down with the best of them. And I participated in that for quite some time, and I didn't see it as being funny anymore. I love to laugh, but it got to a point where it wasn't funny anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why are you making a marked effort to go after that specific individual to no end? Why are you making a marked effort to make this exaggerated point over and over and over again about the differences in legislation, yet you're not conducting anything progressive? No progressive actions toward changing legislation. Sensibility stuff. Believe it or not, I thought this was all about, having a good time. And then the complaints got severe. The background checks, the criticisms
of these, let's say it's and better, the background check a lot of these individuals that talk this type of game and complain. And once people really dig in who they really are, is really telling to what they portray on podcasts and throughout media.
But that's their right. It's their right to, exercise. Because I just told you, the manosphere has saved people's lives. There were people that were suicidal before they discovered the manosphere. And so therefore, in that realm, I can honor the congregation that is the manosphere. It is a congregation. Mm-hmm. My thought is, okay, you have this congregation. Even Martin Luther King had a congregation, mm-hmm. but he conducted legislative change. Where is the change? Where is the
where is it going? Where is this heading?
Are we because you called it a boys club. You called it a boys club, and if they are content with being considered a quote unquote boys club, that is an unfortunate there's so much power to be obtained in numbers, and as their numbers grow, they can actually affect the legislative change. They can affect legislative change. They could do that if they would put their congregation to a more productive stance than just making it their mission to keep their foot on a woman's neck. It's like it's more to it. It's like if you really want to put your foot on a woman's neck, you affect legislative change. You don't just jibber jabber about it every damn day.
I'll say this, Mela. And I take this from the words from Amos Wilson. The only thing power any nation or any person that is in a power position is they have the ability to inflict reward and consequence. A lot of these men that complain about the sisters that is around that they could inflict that same enact, say they cannot do what the competing group men do because they control everything that is necessary to maintain not only a culture but a nation. And the reward and consequence piece of this is, okay, you talk about these women are bad. They're having single mothers. They're denying you from your children. All this. I hear this. I hear the conversation. You heard this conversation for a couple of years now. I always tell, like the good brother Jay Sean said, what you gonna do about it? Cause after a while, as a man, you could only complain and moan and bitch about it for so long. But after a while, as a man, you have to be the problem solvers. You must take the initiative action to correct the problem that is inflicting not only your life, but your other brothers. If we say we are one as brothers, me going around these brothers and they constantly expounding how bad a certain group of women are. And let's say they have a solution, say, well, I'm going to go to this next fence and it's going to be better. But no, say you hop over another fence, it's not no greater or better. It might be just even bumpy or worse because now you're stepping on another man's patriarchal area to post on a few of his women. And here's the funny thing about it. I hear previous podcasts how some were boasting and say, well, I could dick down your woman and you're mad at me. Like you feel that you have a sense of power because, like Amir said, yeah, there's power in the phallus, but like I said, there's no actual power in it where you could enforce reward and consequence and control and impose your environment. It's all of uselessness. It's a waste of time. All you're doing is just get some maybe access to another group of women that's probably not the quality women that you talk about. It's probably women that are so destitute and have no options, if we want to
I
say
think
that.
it's.
And,
I
and
think,
hold on, let me finish. Options. So you're going to just impose your will. And yeah, you could do that and get away with it to a degree, but it's going to come to a point when these group of men get tired and they dealt with you severely. But go on, as I open back the great
they
liberation.
deal with who? Wait a minute. Well, anyway, what I would say, in addition to legislative initiatives that would be more productive than complaint campaigns, I would say that in terms of the phallus, every man is born with his phallus. Every woman is born with her reproductive organs, right? So, you know, there's the inner, there's the outer, they both fit, make a baby. Hallelujah. That is a natural process. I'm not understanding why there's this constant regurgitation around this natural process concept as opposed to doing what it takes to enact power, greater power than, you know, it's like everybody knows that it takes a phallus and a vagina to make a baby. So, and all the relationships that happen therein to conduct that is going to occur. That's a given. What's not being addressed is what it takes to change the power dynamics in that structure. And I find, if you would allow me to say so, I find that what occurs is basically nobody is looking at the fact that Black people have tunnel vision. It's as simple as that. We have tunnel vision. That tunnel vision. I mean, think about it. It's like if all we're focused on is the dynamics of how a phallus fits into an orifice, that's tunnel vision. It has nothing to do with elevating the power structure of one's seat at the table as a man. You know, when you sit at the table, you don't have an orifice sitting on your phallus. What you're doing is you're negotiating greater power amongst men. That's what's supposed to be happening. But because of this concept of tunnel vision, what do we do? We continue to talk about quote unquote relationships and the the multifaceted, intricate details therein. It's just really wasteful. And that's just my humble opinion. I would hope it's not offensive. It's just a forward-thinking statement. That's all I'm making. I'm making forward-thinking statements. I'm not stepping on toes. It's a forward-thinking statement in the interest of, because I could never be in a man's shoes. I truly understand that. I am compliant with the reality. I could never be in a man's shoes. What I can do is exercise my thoughts through freedom of speech. I can exercise my thoughts as to what has been a more how can I put this? Effectual strategy of thought. So I've been introduced to a more effectual strategy of thought by men who have placed themselves in higher positions through the hard work of legislative intention. And they don't do this. They do not. They do not discuss the types of food. Like I said, I thought it was comedy. I really did. I thought it was comedy. Because people who are actually effectually, people who are chasing power, they don't discuss this stuff. They do not.
They're not
So I
supposed
thought
to.
it was comedy.
They're seeking power. That's the whole
Exactly.
premise. Anything less than
Exactly.
power is fruitless and is waste of time. But I have my good people back on.
And through tunnel vision, it would appear. Now, I do give credit to the Manosphere for saving certain men's lives, because they were depressed, they were confused, they didn't understand why some things hadn't worked out as they had anticipated. I give them credit for that, because men do need a congregation, especially Black men. And so I give them credit for that. However, let's take those numbers that you got and quadruple it into something that is stamped in history as effectual progression.
All right. Mary, Tony, you're back. Yeah. Yeah, you're back. All right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So, are we talking specifically about the manosphere and much of their rhetoric that's geared towards?
It's open. It's open.
No,
Say what you feel.
This is an open panel, but she mentioned them briefly on how the Manosphere has done some work saving a good portion of the males in our community lives, because some of them were even going as far as suicide because they don't know how to operate in this environment.
All right. Well, you know that there isn't any real outlet for men, especially black men in particular. Like, no, pretty much people are indifferent to the suffering and pain of black men, generally speaking. Even other black men, I'm guilty of it. Again, everything I'm saying, I'm able to take responsibility for the things that I do that contribute to what I'm talking about. But it's something that we do where we're indifferent to to the plight and the hurt and pain and suffering of of men, and especially black men. I think you have brothers who have legitimate gripes about the women of their community, the women of their group. And for a long time, those voices and those stories have never gotten told. Oftentimes, it's been a one-sided story where women have been able to play victim. You know what I mean? And not to say that they haven't been victimized, but we haven't given enough attention to how many times they've acted as victimizer as well. How many times it's bi-directional. You know what I mean? It's a symbiosis that goes on between men and women, where we do things to each other that we shouldn't do. You know, and I think it's sad in 2020 that we have no real standard or template for how to act and operate and behave in relationships.
We're gonna need your microphone to be clear.
Is there a lot of background noise?
No, you're fading a little bit, Mary. I didn't want to say that, but yeah, you are fading just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have my Bluetooth.
There you go. That's perfect. That's perfect right there.
Right here, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever you did to move your microphone closer to yourself is fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, but like I was saying, it's sad that we don't have a standard or a template for healthy long-term relationships in today's time and society. I mean, look, Chris Brown had a very popular song. These ain't loyal. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think brothers raise legitimate gripes and concerns about the women of their group today.
I see. I mean, yeah, he has a somewhat a point. I ain't gonna go in it, but yeah, you're right. But like I said, yeah, these spaces are necessary at the end of the day for black men. But this is my stance with all this. After you come through death or potentially facing death and overcome it, that's where growth has to begin as a man, and move beyond past and figure out, the little problems you have to progress further as a boy or man in this so-called environment. One thing with this space or this so-called, like you said, the manosphere, black or white, a lot of males at the end of the day, if it's not pushing where to go to the source and really start make a serious impact, at the end of the day, to me, all I see is just pure barber talk, and that's what has become lately for the last couple of years. Even when I came across and heard about it, and I entertained certain space last year, and I'm more beyond and move past this. I say, you could sit there complain about the women that you could engage in or have sex with, but at the end of the day, it's not gonna fix your problem as a man. Other group of men, when they make moves, and it affects the whole collective, including themselves. We as men today, we just sitting there, we hoping that these competing group of men are going to put the laws and legislation so be in favor to us, and that's not how nature works. Unfortunately, that's how the law jungle really works. So I want people to keep that in mind. Now, Tony, I know you came back. Anything else you want to add on to this little conversation?
My phone, I don't know what's going on. I got to take it. I don't know. Maybe I just need a new phone because I still got the Galaxy S7. So
You got some mess up in regards to this. I'm using the phone to stream.
I was on my phone. I was on my phone originally, and then it just started overheating. So I had to get off and close down all of the apps and just let it cool off a bit. So I'm on my laptop now.
Yeah, but like always, Tony, I know you're still fresh to certain spaces,
Oh yeah.
And you're just learning as you come along, and I'm hoping that when you're around men like me and Amir or anybody else, you're learning as you come along. Even I try to coach you on certain things. Since you're moving beyond the social media atmosphere into the so-called bigger platforms like this, it's a different direction how you gotta take it. I mean, and mind you, I coach not enough people, but some women that they said they have a channel and they about to do certain things and said they're going because they have the option to go, let's say, live. Like it's a good thing. I tell them, say, no, if you're a person that just start off, you want to start baby steps, just do little shorter videos, what I'm saying, as much as possible, before anything else. Going straight to it because now you understand people have an attention span and people that could sit there and glue in on any stream or podcast, it has to be something that is going to be very entertaining, that's degenerate. You'll keep their attention on that. But if you're not in that direction, in that atmosphere or pushing to that, then I'll tell people the shorter videos are the way to go for now. Because really truly in this space, attention span is a necessity. And not everybody has a very good attention span because how we've been raised and groomed in this society. Everyone is quick and go, and usually the education or the de-education is a major culprit for this problem. But that's not a story. But like I said, people's attention span is very low today. It's so low to the point where if something important message came up, they wouldn't notice it because they're not really adapted to what they're seeing. If the right color is not used or sound, it could throw them off. So that's all I want to say in that. Yeah. But I think I said enough right now. Unless anybody else has anything else to say.
Well, what are y'all thoughts on the coronavirus pandemic?
Well,
do y'all think it's going to get worse? Because let me say this right quick, Cass. Because one thing I have noticed is when I'm watching the reporting, like on NBC and stuff like that, I'm noticing that they're talking about in reference to social distancing, they're calling it the new normal. You know what I mean? They keep saying this new normal, and I'm like, how is it new? What they mean by that? What you know what I'm saying? Like, what does that mean to say it's the new normal? You know what I mean? What y'all think about this shit, man?
I'm gonna let lady speak, and then I'll say something to this lady.
And who's the other
Get
young
ready.
lady on the panel?
That's Mella.
That's Tony.
Oh,
that's Tony.
No. I'm not talking about Tony. I'm familiar with her.
Oh,
I'm
the
talking
tree?
about you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm Mella. I was on Gab's panel with you the other night.
Right. You know what? I never got a chance to push back on what Mr. Fantastic was talking about in terms of, you know, religion. You know, in terms of Jesus stuff, because C Boogie came on and sidetracked the conversation into the Aaron Fountain list. You know what I mean? I never got it. I really wanted to hit back on that, because what I said went over his head. He didn't even understand what I was talking about.
Yeah, I was on that panel with you.
Right. Okay. And do you have? Are you a YouTuber?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. You just moonlight with it every now and then. You just play with it.
My son went to college, and I started exploring his YouTube page and for nutritional information and maybe a couple of YouTube movies. And next thing I know, I run across Black YouTube, and I decided to, you know, participate in the realm of humor. And some of these people ain't playing.
And, right. What you mean by that?
I thought it was humorous. You know, I would hear people playing the dozens with one another. I thought that was humorous. Yeah. And I participated in it until I started to discover that there are pathologies that I wasn't aware of. There are people that have certain pathologies that can't be reasoned with.
But you know what?
It's as simple as that.
I think the one true pathology that we deal with as Black people in American society, I think, is white supremacy. I think the problem is we do pathologize everything. So if a woman is having children out of wedlock, well, that's a pathology. If a man isn't paying his child support on time, a Black man, then that's a pathology. You see what I mean? When basically what I've come to conclude and what I've realized, that these things are much more socioeconomics. You know what I'm saying? They're socioeconomic, and the behaviors that many of us engage in are socioeconomic. I think we talk about these issues, and the reason why we do this is because we bought into what white society has peddled as functional and dysfunctional, as normal and as abnormal. And if we go by that, if we go by white societal standards as the predicate, as the norm, then we'll always be found wanting. We'll always be dysfunctional. We'll always be abnormal. We'll always be pathological. You see what I mean? And this was, I believe, the problem with the Moynihan report, because that's exactly what it did. It portrayed a Black life as being pathological, and abnormal.
Was Moynihan white?
Yeah,
is Moynihan a white guy?
Yeah, Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
A white guy ain't got no business. Hold on. Let me tell you something. A white guy ain't got no business telling a Black man who he is. That's the problem.
Again.
Yeah. But you know what? And ironically, that same Daniel Patrick Moynihan was the son of a single mother. You know what I'm saying? He was the son of a single white mother. But yeah, we pathologize. We pathologize Black life, and we pathologize the things we do. Much of the things that take place in Black society, these things are a microcosm of the larger society. Like, you know what I mean? The larger society has secularized. The larger society has become more more technical,
that sounds real hypnotic.
Right.
That sounds real hypnotic. At the same time,
so it has an effect on it.
Say what?
But I said no. The largest society and norms and cultural values and things like this have.
A white man has no business telling a Black man who he is, and I'm tired of people talking about
these reports by people that don't look like them.
You better say that again.
Right. Well, I mean, I won't say that. At the same time, like I won't dismiss certain empirical data just because it's coming from a white source or a non-black source. For me, I'm going to look at it objectively, and I'm going to look at it, use logic and reason to ascertain, okay, is this some bullshit? Is there an agenda? You know what I mean? This, that, the third, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But in terms of behaviors,
who's your daddy?
I'm not going to.
Who's your daddy? God damn it! Now you pissed me off. Check this out. Who's your daddy? Check. I'm telling you, and I mean this not for you personally. I'm talking about any black man within the sound of my voice, and hopefully, I'm not being considered not feminine. What I'm getting ready to say right now is very pertinent. Who is your daddy? Is your daddy black or is your daddy white? You have no business listening to what a white man tells you who you are, because he is not your daddy.
That ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about, though. Like
your job as a black man is to make sure. Wait a minute, hold on.
Okay,
what do you mean? You just said the Monahan report. That is what we're talking about.
That's describing a social condition. That has nothing to do with identity.
Maybe I said it. Maybe I said it too aggressively. Maybe I said it too aggressively. My bad.
Because what I don't like when people want to cherry pick information. The information is the information. Like, it just is what it is. If you want to refute the information or dispute the information, fine, you can do that. But I think to just say, oh well, it's white, and so that's why, no, like that's not adequate. That's not scientific. That's not how it's done. There's a counter argument to be made that can refute the money.
So how is it done that the Constitution of the United States still says that the white man has no obligation to respect the black man? How is that?
Well,
how's that fit?
Well, that was the Supreme Court decision versus, with the Dred Scott rule.
Okay,
right?
I'm done. I'm done.
You said it was the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't say that. That was the Supreme Court decision with the.
Y'all better change that shit before it's too late.
But hold on, because there was another Supreme Court case that actually set a new precedent that undermines that argument that people will talk about in the Dred Scott case, and that was the slaughterhouse cases of Louisiana. People should look into that because it totally refutes that previous ruling that was rendered in the Dred Scott decision. Again, I don't like cherry picking. We shouldn't cherry pick.
Apparently you don't, because cherry picking leads to making a pie. Apparently you want to pick up what's on the ground already.
They're making a pie.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, stop picking up what's on the ground, and get to the top of the tree.
Right. I don't understand what that analogy has to do with what we're talking about, but okay.
We already know that they don't want us in power. We already know that. It is our job to ensure that we get to the top.
Yeah, but it's not you're going to get to the top the same way the Asians got to the top. The Asians got to the top by actually getting in the game and competing with the.
But because we have tunnel vision as a people, all we care about is who offends us amongst ourselves. That's all we can, because we have tunnel vision. It's like, it's not about who offended you. It's about staying on the mission. We haven't yet to establish a mission.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How do we do that? How do we get to the top of the tree? What you just said. How do we get to the top?
You the man.
Exactly. If I'm the man, then it should be up to the men on how they go about doing that. I think part of the problem here is you got too many sisters trying to tell brothers how to be men. I don't need you to tell me how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get that established. I don't need that from you or from any woman for that matter. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying that that's a comment. Like black women think they have
I
to
just
rally black men
said you're a man. I
tell black men
literally
what they
just
got to
said you're a
do. And
man.
I don't. And like me personally, I don't need that. I understand exactly what it is, how I have to compete with this in this
You're
society
Borgen, and I really want to hear what you got to
with this
say.
dominant male. You see what I mean?
Can you repeat the last sentence? I think
I said that. That's why I referenced.
I didn't hear
the
anything he
age.
said because his microphone is choppy.
Yeah, but it's clear now. I can hear it. Repeat one more time.
Can y'all hear me?
I hear you. Just repeat one more time.
I said the Asians had to deal with these white males, these Europeans, and they had to deal with them on their turf and play their game and beat them at their own game. This is what they've done. You see what I mean? Like they didn't say, okay, well, we just got to go over here and do what we do in Asia. No, they had to compete. They had to actually compete. They had to compete, man, and they had to outcompete the European male. And this is what they've done. Consequently, China owns much of America's debt. They outcompeted them in the automobile market and automobile industry. And now they're over there in China setting up Chinese imperialism. We know that the next superpower on the planet will be Asian. It would be a good idea for children. Hold on. It would be a good idea for children in today's time to learn how to speak Mandarin, because pretty soon Chinese and Asian influence is going to supersede anything that America has had. We're feeling the effects of a waning empire because American influence is waning, and it's waning in conjunction with Chinese influence growing. The Chinese are the next superpower, and so are the Asians.
One thing I was gonna say, Mary, at times you be saying very lengthy, and I'm trying to keep remembering what I'm about to say.
Right. Yeah.
With the Asians, and everybody knows the Asians are up in line, and one thing you could tell where when they facilitate their next line of power is when their money is the top currency. Once that happens, then that'll facilitate their next in line in pursuit of power. And right now we with this thing with this so-called virus, and I never told most of y'all that's listening, I don't discuss it. I don't know if I had to repeat myself. I'm gonna give a prediction. I give this thing 3 months. By the first week or second week of June, we're gonna pretty much see this thing calm down to a point where it's gonna be irrelevant. I don't see this pushing for a whole year or 6 months, or you hear these other content creators be reiterate. I tell people, stop listening to these people. Time I say what is no, they're going to keep this thing outbreak. The most is going to sustain and be to low to plateau 3 months. After that, it's going to run as normal. Because the American economy cannot afford anything like this, or anybody outside the world have a virus go rampant and start causing damage throughout a year.
Right.
Especially right now, and I'm telling you a little secret, and the people not understand. Right now in China, you don't hear much talk about it. You know why? Because they are recovered from the situation.
Yeah, I know China is hiding their fatalities. Like, you know what I mean? I was on Nyla Says earlier, and we was talking about it. Where's my? Yeah, well, I was on Nyla Says earlier, and we were talking about one thing I do get tired of is when we're having conversations and people want to use race to nullify the fact of how power is garnered and what you have to do to get power. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is niggas ain't finna go somewhere and start some black nation and then do their own thing. That shit just not gonna happen. All right, your black ass have to compete in the American society. You know what I'm saying? That's just all there is to it. You know, while they sit here be talking this dumb shit, they be talking, we're not citizens and aboriginal status and all that. Man, go ahead. When them people put that quarantine in, your black ass can't go where they say you can't go. It ain't got nothing to do with that stupid junk you're talking about, man. That's why I be trying to tell them. And this is why we behind and why niggas finna be a permanent underclass now. I'll compete. African immigrants come here and I'll compete you because they don't think the way you think. You know what I'm saying? All you see here in America is oppression. Those people come here and see opportunity. Immigrants, even immigrants from the Caribbean, they come here and they see opportunity. They don't be going with that poor mouth. We just so oppressed. Woe is me, the white man ain't gonna let me do this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That ain't got nothing to do with it.
I'll say this: for most men, especially men of our groups here in the soil we call America, for those that think like that, and those that say they're trying to, I guess, rescue it or save themselves, wherever case may be, I'm hoping they're thinking like other groups in a different perspective in regards, if I'm not doing it here, I go somewhere else. But from what I'm viewing and understanding, that's not the case for a whole lot of Black American males today. Even ones that even qualify for a passport are going out. All you hear to talk about is how much access of vagina they can get. I hear nothing else about time I say, I'm going over to build something, I'm saying, bring some resource, and go flip back and forth from here to the United States to over here while the money's still strong. This conversation is obsolete to the Negro mind. Other groups of men, yes, they will do that because they are gone for the little oppression and they're derelict. Sorry to tell that. And a lot of Black men that's outside America, that's not from here, not gonna like it, but that's where you are. Your
Yeah,
parents,
but you gotta realize.
let me say this. So
Okay, go ahead.
you come over here to get resource here. And what's that resource, Amir? The United States currency. End of story. You take that, and so as you might go back home. And some don't on the average. They'll keep what they're doing over here. So at the end of the day, like I said, most brothers here, on the average, they're not doing a goddamn thing, but go outside and get access to more women. That's it. But regardless, making power moves, nah, because the Negroes here in America, they are confined that they don't feel that getting power is a necessity. They feel get access to women. And that was the whole purpose of jumping into the spring. Now we're in the spring, it's 2020. And my second part about your dick does not prove you're going to get power or eliminate racism and all this other crap. Because when you use your thing, you are thinking of how much access to vagina and how much you can inseminate as much women as possible. And in this process, you might be broke if you're not careful, which a lot of them are, because you see them complain about even the women they deal up here, if they're not compared to how much they're taking everything they got. They say they're taking me from the ringer because the child support's too much. If I'm married, I get divorced, she taking half my. I'm hearing some dumb crap from a lot of, and I say this is some weakness as a man. You should not be.
But at the same time, too, these dudes are just a product of the environment and a product of the society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what Tony looked like. She in a zombie apocalypse game or something.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Tony, do that.
You can tell before, you know what I'm saying? But no, these dudes are a product of they're a product of the society of American society, man, and that's where that mentality comes from. Very complacent and for the most part, I think, in their mind, from where they think the racial boogeyman, the racial monster, the racial Michael Myers of white supremacy just isn't as scary as it was once upon a time ago. You know what I mean? And me and Cerulean had a debate on that, like racism, classism. At least from what the social scientists are saying is the prime indicator in life outcomes for African Americans. But I will say this is that race is the nexus where class and skin color meet. You know what I mean? And so I think what you're going to see is a class system where the majority of the lower class or the bottom class or the underclass will be wholly melanated and wholly Black. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the long and short of it. We have been outcompeted. We squandered much of the political power we had. We're not even the major minority group in America anymore. You know what I mean? So even in terms of that, we've lost relevancy. And this is what you see, like with Tariq Nasheed, we're not going to vote. It may be too far gone for that, because if the liberal coalition can get enough Latinos and stuff like that, and some of these other sub-ethnic groups, then the Black vote will be irrelevant. And I'm going to lay that at the feet of these fucking Black nationalists and shit. Been telling Black folks this dumb shit they've been telling them. Oh, we should have integrated. Oh, and all this other stuff, instead of actually educating Negroes on how to use their political power to actually get something done in terms of their socioeconomics instead of trying to do it the opposite way. It hasn't worked. You see what I'm saying? It hasn't worked. You can't practice group economics if you're not practicing group politics, period. You see what I mean? But it seems like they don't understand that. So now we at a point where it may be too far gone, man. It may be too far gone in terms of that because we're not the major minority group anymore. We might have to very well look at starting our own political party that can actually make it up into some of these presidential debates and stuff like that, that can push the direction of public policy making, of talking about public policy in the direction of what's best for African Americans, man. You know what I'm saying? But until we do that, I think we'll just be a dog chasing its tail.
I'd like to thank everybody for listening to tonight's stream. Always comment, subscribe, and like this video. Please leave a comment on every video that is done on Chaos Reign channel. Also, if you're not a subscriber, please, what you're waiting for, subscribe to the channel. And like that's your way coming out. But other than that, thank you for listening. But till next time, let's get yours.